Thank you, Frank. And now for some more new updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has today inaugurated the 3 million metric tons of the newly built Dangote fertilizer plant in Lagos State. The event, which brought together political bigwigs and business investors within and outside Africa, is to finally put an end to foreign dependence on importation of fertilizer in the country. iBrandTV's senior correspondent, Korea, has more details.
President Mahmoud Buhari, inaugurating the newly built fertilizer plant by Dangote Group, said the multi-billion-dollar investment will not only create job opportunities for Nigerians, but will reduce the importation of fertilizers to the country. President Buhari said Dangote Group is the second highest employer of labor after the federal government. The president said the plant will improve the foreign exchange of the country and boost agro-business in the country. The president assured Nigerians of an enabling environment for small and medium-scale businesses. On the spot, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu told the president that in a few months, the state will commission the largest rice mill in Africa, thereby making Nigeria self-sufficient in rice production. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Muhammadu Abubakar, congratulating the Dangote Group for the successful completion of the biggest fertilizer plant in Africa, said the 3 million metric tons per annum fertilizer plant is in line with the vision of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration in growing agriculture in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari earlier inaugurated the newly constructed wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos State. Korea, reporting for iBrandTV News.
And Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has summoned the Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, to a meeting at the presidential villa. Since February, most parts of the country have been experiencing poor power supply, worse than it used to be. The country's national grid also collapsed twice in the month of March within a 48-hour period. Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, said Buhari is expected to discuss the erratic power supply experienced across the country in recent weeks with Aliyu. He added that a meeting with Hope Uzodinma, Governor of Imo State, and Doyin Salami, his chief economic advisor, was also called by the president. And to other stories, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, announced the inauguration of its newly built international terminal at the Murtala Mohammed Airport on Tuesday. The new facility is one of 5 being built in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, and Enugu, in a bilateral arrangement between the federal government of Nigeria and the People's Republic of China. The ones in Abuja, Port Harcourt have been completed and commissioned already, while that of Kano has been completed and would soon be commissioned. The new Lagos International Terminal has the capacity to process 14 million passengers per annum, built on a landmass of approximately 56,000 square meters with 66 check-in counters. Other facilities in the terminal include 5 baggage collection carousels, 16 immigration desks at arrival, 28 immigration desks at departure, 8 security screening points, 6 passenger boarding bridges, out of which 2 has already been installed, 2 food courts, 4 premium lounges, 22 guest rooms and spa, 16 airlines ticketing offices, visa on arrival and port health facility, more than 3,000 square meters of duty-free space, amongst others. The agency also said the new terminal is expected to generate about 3,000 direct and indirect employment for Nigerians, as well as enhance passenger facilitation and comfort at the Lagos airport. And the federal government says fully vaccinated international travelers visiting Nigeria from April 4 will no longer be required to take the pre-departure polymerase chain reaction PCR COVID-19 test. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, said this in Abuja yesterday at the national briefing of the committee. He said those in such category would be needing to take a free rapid antigen test on arrival at the airport. Mustafa said that unvaccinated or partially vaccinated international travelers would still be required to take the PCR test 48 hours before boarding a flight to Nigeria. He also said all passengers traveling out of Nigeria were encouraged to be fully vaccinated and to fully comply with COVID-19 protocols and requirements in their country of destination. He also alerted Nigerians, especially those traveling to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, to be mindful of scammers who, under the guise of helping to access the Nigeria International Travel Portal (NITP), circumvent processes. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 2 Command, Adeyinka Adeleke, has said the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, is working on the implementation of the increment in the salaries and allowances of the police in line with the approval of the federal government. An unidentified group of policemen recently threatened that police personnel would embark on a 2-week strike starting from March 26 because the approved salary increment had not been implemented. Reacting to the development, Adeleke, while delivering a lecture to police officers and men of the Ogun and Lagos commands, described the strike threat as fake. He appealed to the police personnel to be calm, law-abiding, stay clear of mutinous action, be focused on their duties, and maintain the integrity of the Nigeria Police Force as a disciplined organization with laid down rules and guidelines for addressing grievances, if any. The IG of Police had earlier given assurance that the welfare of the rank and file was being given attention, promising that the proposed new salary structure would soon be implemented. And Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja has declared the arrest and unlawful detention of the human rights activist Omoyele Sowore on August 3, 2019 by operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, as illegal. The court also ordered the DSS to pay the sum of 1 million naira and aggravated damages to the activist. The judge gave the order on Monday while ruling on the fundamental rights suit filed by the activist to challenge his unlawful abduction at a Lagos hotel for asking Nigerians to take to the streets and protest against bad governance, insecurity, and corruption. The activist had on November 15, 2019, filed a suit marked FHC ABJ CS 1407-2019, challenging the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, Yusuf Bichi, and Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN, for his illegal arrest and detention. He also asked the court for an order compelling the DSS to pay to him the sum of 500 million naira as general and aggravated damages for the illegal violation of the applicant's fundamental right to life, the dignity of his person, fair hearing, health, freedom of movement, and freedom of association. And the Nigeria Labour Congress has refuted claims by the Department of State Services, DSS, alleging that certain groups, including labor unions, have planned to cause violence in the north-central part of the country. The DSS, in a statement issued on Saturday, said some groups plan to cause ethno-religious crisis, ignite reprisals, and heat up the polity. The agency also said there was a plot to use students, striking university teachers, labor unions, disgruntled individuals, and strategic groups, as well as exploit the global energy situation to carry out a mass protest like the #EndSARS protest of 2020. Reacting in a statement by its president, Ayuba Waba, the NLC advised the secret police to rechannel its energy and resources into bringing to justice those who have become enemies of Nigerians, rather than issuing statements suggesting the criminality of trade unions. The labor group also distanced itself from such a movement, stating that it informs the DSS and other security agencies of its activities, especially when such are undertaken in the public space. The West African Examination Council, WAEC, has released the results of the recently conducted West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASE, for private candidates, which was held between January and February 2022. The announcement was contained in a statement by the head of National Office, WAEC Nigeria, Patrick Arega, and issued by its acting head of Public Affairs Unit, Moyosola Adeyegbe. According to the statement, a total of 7,166 candidates sat the examination nationwide, with only 1,886 of them, representing 26.32%, obtaining credit pass and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics. It further noted that the registration figure for this year's first series examination diet for private candidates declined by 4.85%. Out of the 7,166 candidates that sat the examination, 2,835 candidates, representing 39.56%, obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, with or without English language or mathematics. Some members of Edo civil society organization have again staged a peaceful protest over an alleged plan to cede 20% of the state's land and forest for the National Livestock Transformation Program, codenamed RUGA, by the Godwin Obaseki-led administration to the federal government. Igboje Korea reports that members of the group took their protest to the State House of Assembly complex in Benin City.
We are saying no to ceding of our land to killer X-Men, anybody that is interested in category business.
Their sister, their mother, their brother, their sister in the village can't go to farm. So after making this evil law, you will go.
What the government seeks to do in this regard is to be a regulatory body so that some communities will not go and connive, give land to strangers, and at the end of the day become disaster to other communities.
And the Public Affairs section of the United States Consulate General, in partnership with the Initiative for Arts and Culture Development in Nigeria, has officially thrown open the doors of its newly remodeled American Corner in Ibadan. The corner, which is a brainchild of the U.S. government, seeks to build a community of innovative youths and ardent readers using arts and culture as a lucrative vehicle that would be a shining example in conduct and performance, as well as enhance innate leadership skills in the younger generation for a more rewarding future. Speaking at the event, U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Leonard, said the facility would create mutual lines of cooperation and understanding between both countries and make the world a better place.
The facilities here, they're good for the youths as well as good for the senior citizens. And so we have a new place to inspire. We have a place where people can come to, and through the facilities here, they'll orbit into higher space, and they will achieve greater heights.
Here we have windows on digital exchanges that people can do. We have information on education advising. All throughout Nigeria, we work on helping Nigerian students to understand the opportunities that are available for them in the educational sector. We also help a great deal of them, many of them, be able to find scholarships in that regard. We have so many programs for youth empowerment, like the Mandela Washington Fellows, our Young African Leaders, Africans Women Empowerment Entrepreneurship Program, where we help young people to discover themselves, what it is that they want to do, how they can hone those leadership skills, how they can further their education, how they can further their entrepreneurial skills. So this is the place where you learn about those opportunities.
And the bus rapid transport BRT driver, Andrew Nice Ominikoron, suspected of murdering a 22-year-old fashion designer, Oluwabamishi Anyonwole, will be arraigned before a Lagos High Court sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square on Tuesday. The suspect will be arraigned before Justice Sherifat Shonaike on a 4-count charge of conspiracy, murder, and 2 counts of rape. The arraignment follows legal advice from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, Dr. Jide Martins, recommending the prosecution of the BRT driver. Bamishe went missing after boarding the BRT bus on Saturday, February 26. She was said to have boarded the bus, which was going to Oshodi, at about 7 p.m. at Chevron bus stop. Until her death, she worked as a fashion designer at Chevron Estate in Ajah, Lagos, but spent the weekend at Ota, Ogun State, with her sister. Sadly, her body was found dumped by the roadside on Carter Bridge, Lagos Island. The police who confirmed the incident said an unidentified man reportedly informed officials of the Butero police station about the incident. The corpse was later taken to the mainland hospital mortuary. Andrew Nice, 47-year-old, was later arrested at his hiding place at Oshosa, Ogun State by operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS. Well, may our soul continue to rest in peace. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has condemned the bombing of the residence of George Obiozor, the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo. The IPOB leader spoke during his routine meeting with his legal team at the Department of State Services, DSS headquarters in Abuja on Monday. A statement by Kanu's counsel, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, said the IPOB leader expressed grave disapproval and anger over the attack on the residence of Obiozor. Kanu asked the federal government to fish out and punish the perpetrators in accordance with the law, while urging the people of Southeast to protect elder statesmen in the region. Obiozor's residence in Imo State was razed down by some gunmen on Saturday. The assailants attacked Obiozor's residence using improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and petrol bombs. And on the African scene, the United States on Monday imposed sanctions on Sudan's Central Reserve Police, CRP, force for human rights abuses. The Treasury Department accused the CRP of being at the forefront of the crackdown on protests against military rule in the Northeast African nation. Under the sanctions, any CRP asset in the United States will be frozen. According to Charlie Ludden, an international legal advisor at the right group Redress, today's sanctions send an important message that those responsible for the killing and injuring of peaceful protesters in Sudan will be held to account. End of quote. Regular protests calling for the civilian rule have taken place since a military coup led by Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan on October 25, with heavy-handed crackdowns, leaving 87 dead, according to medics. The October coup derailed a fragile power-sharing agreement between the army and civilians that had been painstakingly negotiated after the 2019 ouster of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Former Prime Minister of Mali, Soumaïlou Boubèye Maïga, died on Monday at 67 years old in Bamako, where he was in detention in a case of alleged fraud, according to his family. Heavyweight of Malian politics, Soumaïlou Boubèye Maïga was between 2017 and 2019 the Prime Minister of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, who came to power in 2013, overthrown in August 2020 by a military coup, then died in January. Maïga previously served as Foreign Minister, Defense Minister, and Head of the Intelligence Services. The former Prime Minister had been held since August 2021 at the Central Prison in Bamako. He was transferred in December to the Bamako Clinic, where he died on Monday. He had been incarcerated after being charged with, among other things, forgery, use of forgery and favoritism as part of an investigation into the purchase of military equipment and the acquisition of a presidential plane in 2014 when he was Minister of Defense. Appointed Prime Minister in 2017, Maïga was forced to resign after the April 2019 massacre of some 160 Fulani civilians in Ogosagu, central Mali, by alleged Dogon hunters, and after a series of protests denouncing the mismanagement of the country. And rescuers scored heavily forested mountain slopes in southern China on Tuesday, looking for victims and flight recorders from a China Eastern Airline passenger jet that crashed a day earlier with 132 people on board. Parts of the Boeing 737-800 were strewn among trees charred by fire after China's first crash of a commercial jetliner since 2010. Burnt remains of identity cards and wallets were also seen, state media said. Flight MU-5735 was traveling to the port city of Guangzhou from Kunming, capital of the southwestern province of Yunnan, when it suddenly plunged from cruising altitude and crashed in the mountains of Guangxi less than an hour before it was due to land. State media, which described the situation as grim, have said the possibility of the death of all on board could not be ruled out. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, on Monday appointed an investigator as the Boeing aircraft was produced in the United States, but it wasn't clear if the investigator would travel to China. On Monday, China Eastern and two subsidiaries grounded its fleet of 737-800 planes. The group has 225 of the aircraft. Data from British aviation consultancy IBA shows. As of Tuesday, other Chinese airlines had yet to settle or cancel any flight that used 737-800 aircraft, according to data from Chinese aviation data provider Flightmaster. And still on the foreign scene, Japan reacted angrily on Tuesday after Russia withdrew from peace treaty talks with Japan and froze joint economic projects related to the disputed Kuril Island because of sanctions imposed by Tokyo over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia and Japan have still not formally ended World War II hostilities because of the standoff over islands just off Japan's northernmost island of Hokkaido, known as Russia as the Kurils and in Japan as the Northern Territories. The islands were seized by the Soviet Union at the end of World War II. Japan has imposed sanctions on 76 individuals, 7 banks, and 12 other bodies in Russia, most recently on Friday, and included defense officials and the state-owned arms exporter Rosoboronexport. Russia has also withdrawn from talks with Japan about joint business projects on the Kuril Islands and ended visa-free travel by Japanese citizens, its foreign ministry said. Japan last week also announced plans to revoke Russia's most favored nation trade status and ban import of certain products. UN Chief Antonio Guterres said on Monday the world is sleepwalking into climate catastrophe, with major economies allowing carbon pollution to increase when drastic cuts are needed. The planet-saving goal of capping global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius, that's 34.7 Fahrenheit, is already on life support, he told a sustainability conference in London. Keeping this goal in play requires a 45% drop in emissions by 2030 and carbon neutrality by mid-century, according to the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. But even if nations honor newly revised pledges under the Paris Agreement, emissions are still set to rise 14% before the decade ends. His comments came only hours before the 195-nation IPCC kicked off a 2-week meeting to validate a landmark report on options for reducing carbon pollution and extracting CO2 from the air. The report is expected to conclude that CO2 emissions must peak within a few years if the Paris temperature targets are to be met. Guterres described COVID recovery spending as scandalously uneven and a missed opportunity to accelerate the turn towards clean energy. The Russian invasion of Ukraine, he added, could further derail climate action, with importers locking in fossil fuel dependence as they scramble to replace Russian oil and gas. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has again called for direct talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, saying he's ready for a compromise to end the nearly 1-month war that has triggered an unprecedented refugee crisis and left major Ukrainian cities devastated. Zelensky said on Monday that the status of contested territories in the country's east could be up for debate and that Kyiv was willing to shelve its NATO ambition in exchange for the withdrawal of Russian forces. At the first meeting with the president of Russia, "I'm ready to raise these issues," he said late on Monday in an interview with Ukrainian television channels. "It is a compromise for everyone, for the West, which doesn't know what to do with us with regard to NATO, for Ukraine, which wants security guarantees, and for Russia, which doesn't want further NATO expansion," he added. He told local media that he was ready to meet Putin in any format to discuss ending the war, but added that any deal would have to go through a referendum. A month of talks between Ukrainian and Russian officials have so far failed to stop or even slow a war that has forced 3.5 million Ukrainians to leave the country. But with Russia's much larger military seemingly unable to occupy the entire country or topple Zelensky's ever more popular government, the Ukrainian leader said the war was inevitably going to end at the negotiating table. Well, that's it on News Now. It's now back to Frank.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Thank you, Omobolanle. And up next is entertainment business.
Aládùúgbò tuntun ti dé o. Zazu. Ó pọ̀ létí, ó yẹ kẹ́ ti máa gbọ́. Portable, Bado, gbẹ́mí tábáyé.
Bado snare, pepper snare, many with it one leg.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam. Nigerian singer Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has signed an endorsement deal with socialite Obi Iyegbu, also known as Obi Kubana. The deal is worth 50 million naira. The Zazu Zekruna will be endorsing a new herbal drink, Odogu Bitters, recently launched by Obi Kubana. Portable is a fast-rising singer and songwriter who came into spotlight in December 2021 with his hit song Zazu Ze, featuring iconic artist Olamide. Portable made the announcement of his endorsement on his Instagram page. And away from that to the movies, The Batman debuted in China, the world's biggest theatrical market, over the weekend with a soft $12 million amid new lockdowns due to a surge in coronavirus cases in the region. 40% of the theaters in China are closed amid a coronavirus surge. Still, the movie has made nearly 600 million worldwide. The last live-action movie headlined by the character, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, debuted with $57 million in China in 2016 and went on to earn a total of $95 million there. Still, The Batman has now earned $598 million worldwide and is already the fourth biggest Hollywood release since the pandemic began, after just 2 weeks in theaters behind Spider-Man: No Way Home, No Time to Die, and Fast 9. It's the second biggest movie in the US of the pandemic, behind No Way Home, with $300 million. And now actors Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have raised more than $34 million in donations for humanitarian aid to Ukraine and temporary housing for Ukrainian refugees, according to the couple's GoFundMe page. Kutcher and Kunis created the fundraising page March 3rd and made a personal donation of $3 million. Since then, more than 65,000 donors have contributed to the campaign. The list of top contributors includes some of the world's wealthiest influential individuals. Billionaire Larry Ellison, the chairman of Oracle, has donated $5 million. Silicon Valley private equity firm DST Global contributed $3 million, and the family foundation of DST partner Yuri Milner gave $2.5 million. And that's it on Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam.
Thank you, Chairman. All right, up next is sports business.
Global investment firm Centricus is funding another British bid to buy Chelsea, saying it wants to maintain and support existing management. Centricus co-founder Nizar Al-Bassam and chief executive Garth Ritchie are heading the bid, which also includes hedge fund manager Jonathan Lorry of Cheney Capital and Bob Finch of Talis Capital. The latest bid is reportedly more than $4 billion and is backed by Centricus, who has £29 billion in assets and features several Chelsea season ticket holders. At least 4 consortiums have said they have bid to buy the Blues. There is a group featuring Sir Martin Burton and Lord Cole, and one headed by British property investor Nick Candy. Candy increased his bid on Monday after the addition of another large international backer, a statement from his Blue Football Consortium said. The lifelong Chelsea fan is said to have improved on his £2 billion bid after a large Korean financial institution joined this consortium over the weekend. It is understood that those bidding will be whittled down to a shortlist this week, with a sale expected before the end of the month. And still talking sports business, private equity firm CVC Capital Partners is in exclusive talks with France's top football organization for a 13% stake worth $1.7 billion in a new entity that will hold its media rights. A deal will value the Ligue de Football Professionnel, which oversees Ligue 1 and Ligue 2, at $12.7 billion, nearly 2 years after it took out a $253.3 million loan when its broadcast partner, MediaPro, stopped making payments on its rights deal worth $877.9 million per year. Last December, Ligue 1 was valued between $10 billion and $14 billion, making the league's media rights a hot commodity for potential investors. And now in Formula One has announced a new multi-year deal with MSC Cruises that sees the brand join the Global Motorsport Series Top Global Partner tier. The agreement for the 2022 season will see MSC ships brought portside during select races throughout the year, with trackside branding as seen at the Bahrain Grand Prix on the 20th of March, providing the Swiss company with additional visibility. Formula One has agreed a number of new global partnerships in the past 2 years, with both the Aramco oil firm and the Crypto.com exchange platform joining the series top sponsorship tier since the start of 2020. Deals in that category tend to be worth between $20 million and $30 million per year. An impending agreement with Salesforce is pegged at $150 million over 5 years. Not long after the 10-year Aramco agreement was unveiled in March 2020, Motorsport Week reported that agreement was worth more than $450 million over its duration, although that includes title sponsorship of multiple races annually. And that's it on Sports Business. I'm Samson Oloyede.
Thank you, Samson. Well, and that's our package on Business Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Franco Malape. Bye-bye for now.